tribe still intact with 6 people, which means you're gonna sit somebody out. Who's it gonna be? Gio, take some time to sit on there. Everybody else get ready to strategize. We'll get started.
Because you don't need more sugar to make.
Hey, buddy. How's it going, pal?
I
Pal?
think he sees you this time.
Hey, buddy. I miss you.
Say his name. Say his words.
Brendo. Mr. Doe? You pepperoni?
Okay.
You want pepperoni?
We're not doing that. We're not doing that manipulative parent. Manipulation.
Pepperonis.
No. This is kind of like we're laying in bed together. Similarly, kinda. This is as close as we're getting. Pretty soon you'll be here. You'll be here and you'll... I won't be able to stretch out like this anymore. Because you'll be there next to me.
I'll be right next to you in our king size mattress.
You'll be here,
And
right here.
Yes, exactly right there.
Yes.
And that way I get you and the mattress and Brendo probably at my feet or trying to get between us.
Yes, he'll be like right here.
Between us.
You'll be here, and he'll make sure he puts himself right here.
He will make sure he puts
He
his
says,
foot.
"Excuse me, leave room for Brendo and Jesus."
And leave
He'll
Brendo.
try to be
None of
right
that gay
here.
shit.
Oh.
He said, "Ooh, for me."
This is exactly how it would be. It'll be you'll be right here, and he'll be like, "Excuse me." You know he's gonna be so jealous when you get back.
I know because
He is not gonna want to share. He's gonna be like, "You are a little bitch. You decided to leave and never come back, and so you don't get to just come back and have rights in this house." Exactly.
Well,
but
honestly, I feel like he's gonna think I came back for him at first, and then he's gonna be like, "What the fuck? Why you with this with my other daddy right now? You're supposed to be here for me."
is that true? What do you think about that?
He just looks like a bunny rabbit so much. Yes,
You offended? You don't think him very funny, do you? No, we don't. He's not very funny. So this is my bed now. These are my spots in bed now. You gotta ask him for permission.
You see me, Brendo?
You see your daddy?
You see me?
Your daddy's right there. That's your daddy right there. You see him?
How's it going, buddy? I'll be back soon.
That's your
I'll
daddy.
be back. Yes, that's me.
He's like, bitch, the things that you've lied about. Did you see Ariana Grande's new video? The one that's based on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? It's pretty damn good, I have to be honest. It's good, and the song is good too, by extension. The song goes, "I'll wait for your love." Oh. I'm talking to my husband right now. I'm talking to my man. You're not my man. You're my little man. You're my little man. But that's my man right there.
He said that bitch.
It's a fact. Okay, yeah. He's doing everything he can to just... Oh, okay. He just turned the whole thing off. What is wrong with you? Now, really quick, I'd like to thank Helix for sponsoring today's video. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses customized to fit your needs, and it's conveniently shipped to your door. Alistair and I have different sleep preferences, so we took Helix's sleep quiz. The quiz matches you to your perfect mattress based on your body type, sleep positions, and other factors. I'm an all-over sleeper. Alistair's a side sleeper. Alistair likes a firm mattress. I like more medium. We took the quiz once when we needed a queen-size mattress, and then again when we upgraded to a king-size, and both times it matched us to the Midnight Lux mattress. Now, if you're nervous about buying something online, you do get a 100-night sleep trial to make sure it fits you. It comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up. Helix will even ship your mattress to your door for free in the US. Unlike other brands, Helix mattresses do not contain fiberglass, which can be harmful for your health, obviously. Ever since Alistair and I have been together, since we've been dating, since we have been married, just since the beginning of our relationship, the number one way that I would say we have bonded is in bed. The time we have shared together, just laying in bed, cuddling, watching a movie, watching a show, talking, just spending some quality time together in bed. That has been such an important part of building our relationship. We've had so many great conversations just laid together, kind of with our legs intertwined. So to do this, we need the perfect mattress, right? So Helix has provided that for us for the last going on 4 years now. And you know, Alistair's away right now, so it's a little bit different. I'll set up the laptop on his side of the bed and I'll lay on my side. We have Brando, he'll like make his way to the middle or whatever. And it just feels as close as we can get to it, right? Except I'm the one feeling the benefit of the Helix mattress. He's gonna have to wait a little bit longer before he's able to come home and just lounge out in this bed. If you or anybody you know is in the market for a new mattress and you think that Helix sounds right for you, you can go to that link down in the description box below or go to helixsleep.com/zachandb where you can get 20% off of your mattress and 2 free pillows. Now, this was not the intended video for today. I actually had a bunch of vlog footage lined up that I was gonna put out, sort of continuing off of the last vlog that I put out here on the main channel. But I don't know, changed it up in my mind, so we'll get vlog footage next time. I figured I haven't done a story time in a while. I used to do them quite a bit, but I've always been real uncomfortable with them, just putting the camera up in front of me and sort of talking to it, and real therapeutic, but also at the same time, I end up doing like 3-4 takes of just the beginning part right here, so we're going to try not to do that, and I want to try to do it all in one take, would be the goal. But yeah, I figured it'd be fun to have a story time. Should I cut that out? I don't know. We'll just leave it this time. The hacking. Okay, well, where we're gonna... I've been doing a lot of life inventory lately. I've talked about that over on the Patreon, in my Zach After Dark series. And so, over here, I haven't really talked about it. I've been doing a lot of life inventory, which is basically going through the weeds of my life and reaching down by the root and grabbing them by the root and pulling them out, and you know, doing sort of an itemized list almost of different events in my life, and you know, what's brought me to which places and what's sort of had more effect on me than others, and different memories, and going through all my different sorts of traumas and everything that makes me fucked up. My big lofty ambition is, like, when I hit 30, to go into my 30s unburdened by all this. Now, I know that's not very realistic, but that's what I'm working on. We're working on it. So that's my ambition here. And so there's a few stories. I feel like I've talked about so many damn stories, college stories, in my videos, and I'm so tired of talking about college over here on this YouTube channel. But you know, college, that period of 4 years was really eventful, and so a lot happened that I am currently, as I'm doing my life inventory, revisiting certain stories from that period right now. That's kind of where I've landed in my revisit of my life. And so there are certain stories, there's a few stories in particular that are real fresh on the mind. And then the other day I was recording with my buddy Ian Carlos Crawford. We have a show called My Nudie Judy. It's like a sex relationship sort of talk show / podcast. I don't know. It's over on the Patreon on the after show tier if you want to check that out. But we just talk about a bunch of random things sometimes. We have different topics that we try to keep to from episode to episode. But our first episode back, we just kind of had a general discussion. And towards the end of it, the story that I'd been revisiting in my head for this life inventory trip sort of popped into my head, and I was going to, like, I almost told it right at the end there, because it kind of was talking about hooking up and needing to get off and married down low guys and stuff like that. And so I almost like went into it, but I was like, oh, we're at an hour already, so maybe I'll hold off. And after we were done recording, I was like, well, I could take this story and maybe I'll make it a story time for the Patreon, for the My Nudie Judy. Then I was thinking, well, why don't I just do a normal story time? All of this thought process is way too long-winded. I shouldn't be going through all of this. But basically, I was like, well, let me bring it to my main channel since I haven't done a story time in a while. So, but this is one of the stories that's like freshest on my mind. So we're going to go into that, I guess. So in college, I was about 21 years old here. was I 20? Yes, 21 years old. This was towards the end of like 2015. I had just gotten out of a relationship with a guy that had been in on and off for like 3 years. So since I'd started college, I'd been with this guy and real in love with him. I was pretty devastated when everything ended finally, and when it finally broke off, I think we both knew that it was just not something that was going to work out, and we both kind of came to that conclusion. And we'd, for all the breakups and makeups that we'd had, that was actually the least dramatic, actually. And it was, we both sort of left the relationship with the highest understanding that we'd had since being in the relationship, that this was just not going to work. However, you leave a relationship that you put so much of your heart into, it's going to shatter your heart when you leave. And I was pretty heartbroken, and I was kind of stirring. I was really restless, and so I was hyper dating, which is not a bad thing, you know. Hyper dating is not a bad thing. I think anything can be unhealthy if you're, I don't know, doing it for the wrong reasons, or just overdoing it. There's always a limit that you can push that goes into the unhealthy territory. So I was hyper dating. Just I was hitting up any guy that I could find on Grindr, all the faceless pictures, faceless profiles. Basically any guy who would give me attention, I was talking to. I didn't have any sort of standards at that time. I just needed attention. I needed some sort of attention need filled, so that I didn't feel lonely and I wasn't laying in my bed alone, you know, just feeling that heartbreak. And it was better for me to distract myself by going on all these dates and making out with a bunch of guys and stuff like that. And that can be really good. Again, it can be really healthy to do that. I think the way I was doing it was probably not the healthiest. Now, I'm also a gay man who is in this southern college town, in a red state, you know, and so the dating pool of gay men, bisexual men, it's real small, and it's not, that's not the healthiest as well, right? A lot of the guys who are there are very much not intending to come out, and if they do, they've probably, by the time they've hit 21, they're like they're starting those steps too. So at this point, I'm 21, I am out of the closet, but I still know the rules of the game, right? Like, a lot of those guys are down low, and if they're down low, then you stay down low with them, right? And even if they're not down low, if they're down low, they're still gonna want to be meeting in private. They're gonna want to have private meetups, private dates, private hookups. PDA is just not gonna be a thing, right? Now, even if you are out and you're going on dates and all of these things, in that town at that time, don't know what it's like now, but at that time it was definitely like, you still kept it pretty private and you still kept it on the DL, because it just, you didn't want to run the risk of having some PDA with the guy and somebody on the street decides to be a dick, and that happens all too often, right? Or it did. I've been shouted at coming out of the gay bar before, the one gay bar that's in that town. It's just not a good feeling, and so a lot of times you'll if you meet up with a guy, it's probably not going to be in the most public place. You're not going to be flirting out in public unless it is the gay bar or something a little bit more private like that. It's always going to be private. So that was kind of the unwritten rule, and like when guys would meet up, or when I met up with guys, it was always like, it was in some pretty sketchy places, right? But I never really saw a problem with it. I thought I was invincible, man. Thought I was invincible. Nobody was gonna take me down. I always figured that if anybody tried any shit with me, then nobody was gonna fuck with me, basically, because I was gonna take them out. I was going to whoop their asses. I could kick any boy's ass, and that's not real life. You know, predators, guys who have ill intentions, serial killers, they're gonna get you the way they're gonna get you, right? You do have to be very careful. But being a gay man in this southern college town who's keeping everything on the DL and like meeting in private and stuff like that, I was willing to let a lot more things slide, and also added the added factor of being very heartbroken and really just wanting this attention from guys. put me in a very vulnerable state where I was pretty much always willing to meet up with somebody, no matter how sketchy the situation was going to be. I mean, I met up with guys privately in parking decks, in just a bunch of different places, right? Steam rooms. It gets sketchy, but this is probably one of the sketchier ones. So I'd been talking with a guy on Grindr, and we talked for about a day. I remember it was a school day. I think it was a Friday because we talked about going out on a weekend after that. And I'd been talking to him, and it was one of the blank profiles, and usually the blank profiles were not going to share a face picture with you. You really had to like get it out of them. And I didn't have a profile picture on mine, but I had it was like a cut off headless torso sort of profile picture. But I was talking to this guy who had just a completely blank profile, one of those gray squares, and we talked for a little bit. He was real short with his answers, and that usually tells you somebody's not into you, right? If they're real short, if they're into you, they're gonna talk to you. So I found myself doing a little bit more of the talking, and I could tell with the short answers that he probably wasn't as into me, or that's what I figured. But again, I wanted the attention, so I was still talking. Now I asked if we could exchange face pictures, and he was like, no, maybe if you go first. So I sent my picture, and I had a real nice lineup of pictures that I would do. Picture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I would do all in a row. I had them lined up and ready to go. I wouldn't do them all in a row. So I was waiting. I sent my picture 1. I was waiting on his picture 1, and I was going to send my picture 2 through. He did not send a second picture, or he didn't send a first picture. And so I sent my second picture, and he said, well, send me another one. I sent him another one. And I said, well, are you going to share a picture with me, or are you going to show me your face? And he's like, well, I usually don't like to share my face with people that I don't know in real life. And I usually prefer to meet with people first, I guess. I don't know. That's weird, right? I don't know this man in real life. Never seen his face before. He wants to meet up somewhere, and he's not even going to show me his face until I meet up with him. So that could be any sort of situation. Could be catfish, could be serial killer, could be anything. Could just be a nervous dude who didn't want to send his face picture out there. I don't know. But I was like, okay, well, this guy's sending me basically one-word replies. He's not being very chatty with me. Doesn't seem like he wants to talk to me all that much. And he's not going to send me a picture. So just cut the bullshit, right? But he did keep messaging me, and so when I would stop messaging, he would keep messaging, and he would hit me up again, ask what I'm doing, stuff like that, tell him what I'm doing. He says, cool. So he was still talking to me. So in my brain, I was like, oh, well, that means he's obviously interested, so we're going to continue with this one, right? We're going to ignore the red flags because he's giving me attention, and I need that attention right now. So we talk for the rest of the day, and it's getting pretty late, and he's like, hey, do you actually want to meet up? It's like a Friday. I'm like, well, it's pretty much nighttime. I don't really want to meet at nighttime because it feels sketchy. I felt it. I could feel how weird it felt. And I said, well, do you want to meet tomorrow? We can meet probably during the day. We could go down to the river or something like that. And he's like, no, I can't really do tomorrow, but I'd like to meet tonight. And so instead of being like, well, too many red flags here, I'm just going to peace out, and I'll talk to you later. If you decide you want to meet in the daylight, then hit me up. Didn't do any of that because I'm stupid back then, still am, but invincible and stupid back then. So I say, well, sure, let's do it. Really just, throwing caution to the wind. Can do anything in life, that kind of kid. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with me because I fucked them up. It's pretty much my thought process. He was like, well, okay, so let's meet on the side of the road. He described it, and it was this, it was out in Northport, which is a town sort of sharing Tuscaloosa. It was about 15 minutes from my house is where he wanted to meet. And I believe it was Watermelon Road. I think that's the road that it was on because I remember it being closer to the church that I'd gone to sometimes. And so he wanted to meet out there. Mind you, it is also raining as he's wanting to meet tonight, and it's pretty heavy rain. It's pretty, and I have this dinky little car. The windshield wipers fucking suck, man, and it was just not the vibe. It was sketchy, But I said, sure, why not, you know? This man seems to like me, but I'm like, hey, I really do want a face picture though. I was smart enough to do that. I was like, I really want a face picture. I just need you to send something, right? Also, this man was telling me, he was like, I don't remember what he said, but it was like 30 or something like that. Couldn't have been more than 30 years old. Now, he sends me a picture. It's pretty grainy, but you can see it. You can see the picture. You can see who he is, and it just looked like he had cropped a bunch of people out, you know. And he was cute. He was cute, and he looked about the age that he said he was. And so I was like, sure, okay, so we'll meet up about 15 minutes from my house. I take off driving. And then I remember it was a terrible fucking trip. And I get real anxiety when I drive too, especially in the rain, in the dark. And so the maps are, my Apple Maps are taking me all over the place. It just like cannot find this fucking road for some reason. And so it's taking me all over this place, even though I knew where the damn road was. I just like was following the map instead of just following the, I don't know, that doesn't even matter. Finally found the road, and I'm driving up and down this road over and over again, trying to look for the car that this guy described. He kind of just gave me a location of like here on the road, you know, before, like after this point, before this point, and he'd mentioned the church, and so that's how I know it was on the same road. And so I'm like, well, shit. Okay, so going up and down this road, and can't find him. It's raining a bunch, and then finally I do see the car that he described, and it is like right outside of, it's still like parked next to some trees, like next to a wooded area, which is real fucking sketchy. It's still like very much serial killer vibes, but it's like next to an establishment that is closed. But I told myself, well, it's next to a building, and there's one of those lights, a lamp post. It's like this dingy little lamp post, and I guess we're safe. So I pull up next to his car. I get out. I wait a second just to see if he was getting out, and he got out first, and I got out. And this man was very much older than he was. His picture looked, and he older than he'd told me, but he was still real cute. Didn't look too much older, and I don't know. I don't know what the age I thought. I can barely like picture his face anymore, which is another weird thing, but it had to have been like maybe late 30s, early 40s, something like that. Not too crazy. And he was cute. So I was like, So we start talking a little bit. There's this little bit of space where the water doesn't seem to be coming down through the trees that much. So we're like, we are standing in the rain, but we're not getting drenched. But we're like under this like branch, and so we're talking a little bit. He seems real cool. It is flowing. It's fine. He's not as weird in person as he was like on the messages, and so that happened a lot. And I was like, well, fine, we're okay. He said, okay, well, I live back up further down the road. Would you like to come to my place? And I said, yeah, sure. Why fucking not? I've met you now in this wooded area where you could kill me and nobody is gonna find me. I'm gonna find my body, but you know, your picture's a little bit off. You don't look the age you said you were, but let's go to your house. Fine, sure. Completely happy to, by the way. I was real jazzed about it, getting attention from this nice man. And we drive. I follow him in my car, and we drive up to this like, I don't know, there's this like newer, it looked newer, but it was like a bunch of real nice houses, like one story, like brick houses. It's like real common in Alabama. And so it's like an upper scale or like mid-scale neighborhood. Drive up to his place, park in his driveway, and then he tells me that, hey, can you reverse and pull actually on the curb? Okay, pull on the curb, go inside with him, follow him inside, and we kind of go straight to the back bedroom. Now, all the lights are turned off and stuff like that. He doesn't really turn any lights on, and make sure to turn the porch light off. We go to the back bedroom, and we kind of just like lay on the bed and pretty much start making out immediately, right? Rubbing up against each other, making out. We don't do a whole lot. We're not really like fooling around, but there's a lot of making out. And then he just starts to get really strange, right? Like he sort of stops a lot, and he'll like just kind of look at me but won't say anything. So, well, I don't know. I didn't know what to say either, so I was real awkward. And I hear somebody, sorry. I always feel weird doing these story times, and I'm at my mom's house right now, so I don't want like anybody to hear me. So we're making out, and during one of the pauses, he looks at me and he says, "Can you take a shower?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really wanting to do anything. I don't really want to do anything. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to fuck." Because I just don't know what he's wanting. But he's like, no. I would like to lay in bed naked, and I'd like you to take a shower. And we can get the clothes off, just lay in bed naked, and kind of do anything, right? So I said, okay, go and take a shower. While I'm in the shower, he's like acting playful, but it's weird. So he'll like come up to the shower curtain, like peek, and then like run off and like giggle, and like, I don't know, I'm like showering off, and it just fucking feels weird. And he finally comes over and like pulls the shower thing open, and he says, "Well, are you almost done?" I said, "Yeah." So turn it off, finish like soaping up. He gets in after me and showers separately. I don't know why he didn't just shower with me. But when and then I dry off and I like sit in his bed waiting for him to come out. And so he finally comes out, and he's just like standing in the doorway, just kind of looking at me and doesn't say anything. And so I try to make jokes and I like laugh and giggle, and I don't know, it's fucking weird though. And he finally comes over and lays in the bed, and I start trying to touch a little bit, like getting closer to him. And maybe, I don't know if he was just nervous or what, I don't know, but he like did not want me to touch him. And he kept pushing himself away. He would like just move himself away a little bit. We would make out, but if I got a little bit too close, he would move himself away. So I was like, okay, well, he's not into it. Something is just, I don't know, something's off that I'm not picking up, but I'm also picking it up at the same time. He's just not communicating anything with me. So I don't know if I'm like super into this anymore. He starts asking if he can put it in me. And I said, well, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I already knew I wasn't going to do that. Told him before I came to this house when we were on Grindr that I was not going to be doing that. And he was like, yeah, I thought you would be more open to it. I don't know. That's kind of what I was looking for tonight. And I'm like, okay. So this is just not going to be my sort of situation here. I said, okay, well, that's okay. And I get up and I'm like, well, I need to get back because I made something up, have something to do, and start picking my clothes up, putting them on. And he comes over and he's like, no, don't leave. Like does this like weird like baby voice, like don't leave, and starts like pulling my underwear down again. I'm like, well, I don't know. I think we might have like different ideas here. And he's like, no, I just, I was kind of hoping we'd get to that. So I said, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to bottom. Told him I'm a top. I'm a strict top, right? It wasn't the truth, but I said, no, I'm not going to bottom. Start to pull my underwear up again, and he's like kind of not fighting me, but he has his hand on my underwear, like kind of holding it in one spot so that when I pull it up, it's just hanging down a little bit on the side. And I said, we can probably meet up again. It's just I have things to do. I have something to do. I have a dog at home. Just got to go home right now. And we've met up, we've made out, you seem cool, and we'll just hang out again. And he's like, okay. So I start pulling my underwear on, start putting my pants on. He goes into the bathroom for a second. He comes back out, and I'm dressed at this point. And so when I head towards the bedroom door, he goes and stands in front of it. And he says, hey, can you just pull your shirt up a little bit? I said, why? He says, I just want to like look at you for a minute. So I pull my shirt up. He said, can you take it off? And he said, I'm not trying anything. I just want to see you. I just want to look at you. So I pull my shirt off. And he just like makes me stand there shirtless for a second, and he's just like looking at me, right? And so I'm trying to get out this bedroom door. I start pulling my shirt back on. I'm trying to get out of this bedroom door, and he starts just talking to me, but he won't move. And I'm just moving. I'm inching towards the bedroom door more, to kind of just I'm giving the hint, hey, let me out. Finally he does. He's talking to me about something, and he opens the door and he starts walking me towards the front door, right? Now, this is the fucking weird part. We get to the front door, and I think he's like reaching for the door handle, and instead of opening the door for me, he locks it. And at this point, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm like, well, fuck. Doing that in my head. Remember, I just told myself nobody's gonna fuck with me because I'll fuck them up, and now I'm kind of a little bit scaredy cat right now. So I'm like stepping back and just kind of keeping a distance. And he's just talking. He's just talking like nothing. And I said, "Hey man, you locked the door. I'm going, you know." And he says, "Oh yeah, I know. I'm just talking to you for a minute." And I said, "Well, I have to go now. I really have to go. So I need you to unlock the door." And he's like, "Okay, well, we're just talking." And he still has his hand on the lock, and he's just keeping it on there and just not letting me leave. And I finally say, I don't feel right about this. I need you to just unlock the door and let me out." And he says, "Wow, you're being like a real prude," and just kind of like like mocks me a little bit, but in a joking way, but still very much mocking me. And he's like, "Well, do we just want to come to the living room for a minute and we'll just like hang out for a second? We won't do anything." At that point, I should have said, "Fuck off," and I let me the fuck out. But I said, "Fine, that's okay. Just I do have to go, and like I can be there for like 5 minutes, and I need to leave." We go to the living room. He turns the light on. I do see. So I didn't know if this man was married or not. My memory I go back and forth in because I remember seeing pictures of a woman and some kids, right? But I don't know if that was his wife and kids because there were also pictures of other family members there as well. So he could have just been a family man. I don't know. But in my memory, I'm just deciding that he was married. He was married with kids. I don't know. And this was probably because dots are connecting in my head, right? This is the reason that he can have me over tonight, but can't come. We can't do anything tomorrow. So I'm like, this motherfucker is married. I just went through a situation like this, and this motherfucker is married. So I'm sitting, but I didn't want to talk about it. I don't want to say anything about it. I don't want to point it out. I didn't want to rock any sort of boat because I wanted to get out of this fucking house, right? And so finally, I just say, "Do you actually have a charger? Because I need to charge my phone. My phone's actually on like 1%. And it was because I was already struggling with it. So I showed it to him and I had the proof. He's like, yeah. And he gets up and he walks to the bedroom. And I get up, I walk out the door, unlock the door, walk out, and go down to my car. And when I get in my car, I see, because he had like glass on his front door. I can see him locking the door, and then he walks away from it. I fucking go home, and I just drive off, go home, and done with it. Can barely find my fucking way home because my phone does die. It's fucking raining. I just have to drive around and look for things that I kind of recognize. Finally found my church, the Lord Jesus, and go home from there. And yeah, I mean, it was fucking scary. It was scary, but I did it, and I just went home, and I was like, oh, that was weird. Maybe we'll just not talk to this one again, block him. But I did see him. I don't even think I blocked him. I didn't block him. He blocked me. Now, I did see him at the university gym a lot because I would go to the university gym and work out, and I used to see him there a lot because sometimes you would see older guys who I guess were alumni, something, maybe they worked on campus, I don't know, but he was there, and I saw him there quite a few times, and we would sort of make eye contact sometimes, but we never spoke to each other again. We never said anything to each other. I think maybe one time I said excuse me or something like that. I think I was like reaching around him, or I don't know, something. But it was fucking weird, and I put myself in a really uncomfortable situation because there was tons of red flags, there was tons of reasons that I shouldn't have been going, and I knew I shouldn't have been going, and my gut told me not to do it, my brain told me not to do it, and my spirit, my impulsiveness was just like go, you know, go get this attention from this man. Now, I don't know. I used to put myself in positions like that a lot, like really uncomfortable positions, really dangerous situations. And you know, when you're young, you do that. You think you're invincible. You think nothing's gonna hurt you and stuff like that. But that situation could have gone left real fucking fast. I think it did go left. Didn't end up dead. Didn't end up chopped up in his bathtub or something like that. But I did end up in the shower. I just, you know, I guess, I don't know, it could have been worse, but just be fucking careful. If you're young, you know, remember, you are not invincible. You are not invincible. Things can get real dangerous and you can end up not in a great place. So I don't know, anything can happen. But you know, we just as gay people are sometimes, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know myself as a gay man was very much willing to turn a blind eye to certain. Well, my camera cut off on me, so I'm gonna finish it here. I think my last point was, as a gay man during that time, I was because I was trying to keep everything private and trying not to really stand out in the crowd, as far as meeting up with guys and things like that. I was a lot more willing to put myself in dangerous situations, and you know, it's always said meet in public, meet in the daylight in public. You know, don't go to don't go to the fucking woods to meet somebody. But you know, I was very much willing to do those things back then, and it's just not safe. It's not safe. It's very dangerous. Anything could have happened, and I put myself in a lot of situations like that. That just was one of many, and I don't know. I always think be careful. I think, you know, these younger generations are a lot smarter anyway than we were. But I don't know. Just be safe. Make sure you're safe, and yeah, I'll end it here. This has been a long-winded, this probably could have been done in like 5 minutes, but sure, you know. Hope you enjoyed listening to me talk, and I will see you in the next one.